Welcome back to AM Northwest. We are live from one of the beautiful Renaissance homes as we continue our quest to find a permanent home. And we're now here with Vicki Norris of Restore and Order. You know, when it comes to getting your home and your family organized, it takes more than just some good intentions and a room full of plastic bins.
Oh, for sure.
Here to share more on our Get Organized contest and the common organizing mistakes people make is Vicki Norris from Restore and Order. Hi, Vicki.
Hi.
This home very organized, isn't it?
I know, it's beautiful, but it's not lived in.
It's not lived in yet.
Part of the problem.
But this home, like a lot of homes, has a kind of a multi-purpose room, and I would imagine that's the hardest to organize.
It is one of the most challenging, and we saw that with some of our applicants for the contest already, because multi-purpose rooms become dumping grounds.
Right.
I mean, people don't know what to do with them, and so they end up stashing all of their additional clutter in that space, and they fail to purpose the space.
Let's take a look at one family's multi-purpose room, and you tell us what's going on here. I think the biggest thing you talk about is product abuse.
Yes, I mean, the product panacea is a big one. You can see that there's a lot of bins in this space, but there's also furniture. So, I mean, you wouldn't look at this space and think, oh, this is terribly disorganized, but it's really full. You can see those, like, 7-drawer things.
Right.
Everybody runs to Costco and buys those. And
well, because we think we're getting organized.
Right, and they don't necessarily have a purpose for them, but they just start stashing and stuffing in them, and they think they seem like a really good idea, and pretty soon they own 20.
Yeah.
And so having bins and furniture is great, but not having a system is a real problem. Here you can also see they're real surface abusers here. I mean, there is not one surface that this poor family can actually spread out a project and work on it.
Right.
Look at it, it's all covered. And then I think the thing that we also see in this space is just failure to prune, failure to let go, thin out their possessions. Look at that. Every surface is covered. And so, you know, they've tried, they've made some attempts, but it just isn't working so good.
The failure to prune has got to be probably the hardest thing for people to do, because everyone thinks that there's a purpose for the junk they're collecting.
Or there's an emotional attachment.
Oh, emotional attachment is huge. And it's hard to let go. It's hard to be objective about your own stuff.
I would think when it comes to projects, if you just say, okay, I got to get rid of it, then you're also admitting failure in not completing the task.
Well, you bring up a good point, and that is the path of good intentions. You know, when we want to get organized, we have these good intentions and we get started, but then it's hard to go the distance. That's one of my strong organizing principles, is if you're going to get started, go the distance.
Go the distance, right?
All right, let's take a look now at a basement that has some issues.
Yes, you know, basements and garages are spaces that do tend to collect. And here you can see, again, obviously failure to prune. There's a lot of stuff. But what I heard in her application, too, is that she had bedding and clothing and photos and memorabilia, all bad things to keep in a basement space. It's not temperature sensitive. A lot of times those are damp spaces. And so that always concerns me when I see sensitive items being stored in these type of spaces.
This person has also become a kind of a storage unit for family and friends, right?
Yes, that is my other tip. Do not become a storage unit. That's a big mistake people make. You know, they keep things for their kids who've flown the coop, or a friend, or a neighbor, or a big one is, you know, when your parents pass on or they move into a facility, you take their stuff. And so suddenly you're a storage unit for everyone else.
Yeah.
So same kind of deal here, failure to prune, failure to get rid of some things.
That's right. And again, when it is family things, it's harder. But I think, you know, set a moratorium and say, okay, I'll keep your things for 6 months, kid who's flown the coop, but after that, it's time to come get it or lose it. Or I'm selling it on Craigslist.
There you go, getting rid of it. Bedrooms are also another place where people have a hard time staying organized.
Well, they are, and a lot of people convert bedrooms into home offices, which is what we see in this next applicants. And you can see that there's a fellow in this picture, and this kind of cracks me up, because this woman is just totally loving her husband, and I didn't love it, but she submitted him. She submitted him in his office. And so, you know, this could be a problem because ambush organizing doesn't always work very well. And so I'm not even sure if he's aware, but maybe he will be now. And so that can be a mistake, is when you're trying to enforce organizing on someone else. That can be a big one.
She's clearly trying to organize her husband's home office.
That's right. And she's trying to help him because he never got the safe space set up correctly. He never established systems. And the big thing I saw is that he went from job to job, really pretty fast transitions, and he didn't allow any processing time. No margin in life to set up systems whatsoever. So that, you know, they really just need to take some time to back up and really
And the
start
big one is you have to incorporate your husband if you're going to take control. Yes, there you go. Okay, the bedroom.
Okay, well, you know, there's other spaces too in the bedroom, and this is another multi-purpose room actually that we see. And starting with no plan can be a real problem. Here you can see a home office. They wanted it to be a craft room. I guess the husband has a reloading hobby. And
what?
So, reloading. It's like a gun hobby.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, but what we see in this space is a lot of...
I thought it was just pouring another drink.
That's a hobby too. Maybe that's yours. I don't know. But here we see a lot of creeping clutter and blocked access. Like, you can't get into the drawers, you can't get into the closet. The creeping clutter is taking over the floor. And so blocking access with your clutter, too many activities in one space, not starting with a plan. These are all mistakes that people make. And I just want to say that I love the fact that people are entering the contest. So this is not a slam on anybody. I'm just so thrilled that
these are tips.
These are just tips. I'm so excited that people are entering, and we all make these mistakes in our desire to get organized. You know, sometimes it's bigger than us.
Yeah, you mentioned the contest, by the way. Friday is the deadline. If you want to enter our Restore and Order contest, you can. The Get Organized contest ends, like I said, Friday. What we need from you is a picture of the room that you want to organize. You need to send us your address, your daytime phone number. We've had a lot of people who send in pictures with no other information. And what's wrong with the room that you want to have reorganized, and what would you like the room to be?
Right.
And then we will draw our winner very, very soon. But Friday is the deadline. And for more information about Vicki and Restore and Order, the number's on your screen, 503-625-5774. And of course, we have information on our website, katu.com.
Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you.
All right, when we